traditionally passes to a passing team, not a running team on a frozen field, and to the offense rather than the defense.
Cleotha Montgomery deep for the black jerseyed Bengals, and the Browns. Cockcroft kicks it off, aims it toward that left corner. Montgomery at the 20, and down he goes at the 27-yard line. There's the first indication of the frozen end of the field. That end of the field will give the runners and receivers trouble. To the left, it's not so bad. The lineup for the Cincinnati Bengals. Jack Thompson from Washington State, the quarterback. Alexander, LSU. Big Pete Johnson, 4 straight 100-yard games. Receivers, Pat McAnally for the injured Bass. Leading receiver is Ross, the tight end. Isaac Curtis, the wide receiver. The line for Cincinnati: Bush at center, Bushnock and Montoya the guards, Munoz and Wilson at tackle. Thompson completes it in the flat. Out to the 30. Archie Griffin dropped at the 31-yard line. Dick Ambrose and company making the stop. Make that the 32-yard line as they spot it. Defensively for Cleveland, 3-4 alignment. Marshall has had a fine year. So is Bradley. 2 youngsters with a veteran, Lyle Alzado. 4 linebackers, Hall, very active R.L. Jackson, Dick Ambrose, the leading tackler, and Clay Matthews. Ron Bolton and Clinton Burrell at the corners. The all-time interceptor in Cleveland history, Tom Darden, and Clarence Scott at safety. Up the middle, Pete Johnson. And he's close to a first down at the 37-yard line. Ambrose again from the University of Virginia led the defensive charge.
Pete Johnson has to be the biggest active back in the NFL. Watch him as he just bulldozes his way right over the top of R.L. Jackson for extra yardage. They're counting on Johnson to keep the defense honest today. They'll use him inside as a battering ram. They'll come off of his play with play-action passing and shots to the outside.
Merlin, Pete Johnson missed 5 games with an injury this year, and Cincinnati lost all 5. They're 6-4 when he's in the lineup. 3rd and less than a yard. And it's Johnson burrowing across the 37, and it appears he has a first down. It's going to be close.
I asked some of the Bengal players how much Johnson weighed now, and they said, well, when? On the Thursday when they weigh him in, or on Sunday? Because on Thursday he weighed about 258 pounds, but I'll bet he's well over 260 today.
Pete Johnson, also an academic All-American at Ohio State, where he set Big Ten and Ohio State records for touchdowns, 58. And he got just enough for the first down. Brian Sipe waiting his turn on the sidelines. Always wondered about in the cold weather, the quarterback that has to wait his turn. He warms up, and then there's a 5-6 minute delay before he can get his hands in the ball game.
Well, not so bad today because Sipe is standing in the sunshine and walking on that field yesterday. A lot warmer over there than it is in the shade.
First down at the 37. Pete Johnson pulls his way to the 44-yard line. Coming up to make the tackle was Tom Darden, 27, University of Michigan All-American.
The Bengals would like to believe that Pete Johnson can do some for them what Earl Campbell does for Houston, although Johnson is not quite as fast and does not have some of the acrobatic ability of Earl Campbell. He certainly punishes defensive backs much in the same way.
Only 6 feet tall, if that, and 250 pounds or more. Not a lot to grab onto except muscle. 2nd and 3. Tight end Ross lining up on the right side. Same play. Johnson cutting back and running into Alzado. He's to the 45-yard line. That'll be short of a first down.
We've got a flag down, but Lyle Alzado on that last play pursued all the way across the field. One of the important ingredients of a good defense is pursuit. You see Alzado getting inside of Munoz, sliding all the way across, getting good position, and takes the ball carrier down on the far side.
Penalty marked off against the Browns, and a first down.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask, defense, first down.
Ball spotted at midfield. First down for Cincinnati. They've taken the opening kickoff. a couple of first downs, and they're about to move into Cleveland Brown territory as Thompson brings them out of the huddle. McAnally and the tight end Ross on the left side. Curtis split far right. Johnson up the middle. And he's to the Cleveland 46-yard line, a gain of 4. Henry Bradley from Alcorn State made the tackle.
We told you we'd be watching the matchup between Alcedo and young Anthony Munoz, the #1 draft pick for the Cleveland Browns. Alcedo jumped right over the top of him that time. Munoz just took his leg right up. Oh, here, watch it. You'll get a chance to see it. Watch him jump here. Munoz is going to roll up and just take his legs a little bit, get enough of him to keep him off the tackle. Interesting that the Bengals are running. They're not throwing the ball, and this Cleveland defense, giving up all kinds of yardage against the pass, has played pretty well against the run.
The only pass was the first play of the game, that little swing pass in the left flat. Thompson on 2nd and 6 has a man. Isaac Curtis was open, but the pass awry at the 38-yard line. Thompson, who was the 3rd player selected 2 years ago after Tom Cousineau from Buffalo, Mike Bell of Kansas City, and then Thompson here by Cincinnati. New Orleans takes the early lead against the Patriots 7-0. And, of course, Cleveland fans will be pulling for the Saints today.
They like that cushion, but they obviously would much rather go in with the home field advantage, and they get that if they can win today.
3rd and 6. Triple left formation. Over the middle. Oh, McAnally is hit at the 40. And a flag goes down. McAnally popped hard at the 40-yard line. It's an incomplete pass. Let's check the flag. And McAnally was drilled.
One of the new rules in the league this year deals with the delivery of a blow to the head. And McAnally just absolutely stroked off his feet by a vicious blow. Watch it yourself here. He's going to be coming in from the left side of your screen. Darden, number 27. Watch the shot right there to the head. There's no question about that being a flagrant foul.
Here it is again, and boy, in this cold weather, McAnally took about as severe a blow as we've seen all year.
Unnecessary roughness, a blow to the face, number 27 defense, first down.
You get the reaction of the crowd. McAnally's still on the ground, and that's exactly the kind of blow and the kind of penalty that was installed in the league this year to protect from that kind of action, Dick. An unnecessary part of the game. A defensive back coming up to a receiver who's stretched out like that has many other options. He does not have to go to the head.
Now, while we attend to Pat McAnally, a break in the action. We've played nearly 4 minutes of this first quarter, and Cincinnati is on the march. Receiver and punter for the Bengals still down after a vicious hit. We don't feel it was an intentional foul by Darden. He's playing a very emotional game, an important game, but you just can't have two men collide any more dangerously than that. At full speed, you can understand why McAnally is not on his feet as yet.
And there's no question that probably one of the sorriest people on the field about that particular play is Tom Darden. But still, as I said before, you do have options coming to a receiver who's stretched out like that, and that is not a good option.
They're going to require a stretcher to remove McAnally from the field. It's a contact game, and every player who pulls that helmet down over his ears knows there's an injury risk. And when you get in a game with so much importance, these men have played since way back in July to ready themselves for a possible playoff. And for Darden, who's a fine man, one of the most likable guys you'd ever want to meet, I mean, he, like every one of the Browns, they know how important it is for them to win. This is the culmination of all that work, and part of that had to be reflected in that punishing tackle. I'm sure if he had it to do over again, he would not have delivered it quite that way.
The thing that must be remembered, too, Dick, football itself, the game, is a violent game. And every player on the field has accepted those risks as he walks out on the field. At the same time, there is an unwritten code. The players operate under that code, and that does eliminate what we call cheap shots. There are certain players who live outside of that code. Darden is not one. Darden does not have a cheap shot reputation in the NFL. And this particular play might be categorized in that way, but Darden is going up to try and knock the ball out. Now, it just catches McAnally right at the throat, head area, and there's no question about the viciousness of the shot. But again, I do not feel, looking at it here, that it was an intentional shot to the head.
What concerns you, that whiplash effect, it's much like the injury suffered, or the blow, to Darryl Stingley that rendered him in a very serious condition for the rest of his life. And let's pray at this moment that McAnally is not severely hurt. And that very sobering evidence of the stretcher being brought onto the field now.
Of course, one of the things that happens in the game today, a great deal of caution taken anytime a player is unconscious, anytime there's an injury to the head and neck area. Caution that is very important, but more caution today by far, realizing the seriousness of that kind of thing than there ever was in the past.
Yeah, we can all remember 20 years ago where a player would be literally asked to walk off the field with a torn knee or a broken leg to save a timeout. You just crawl off the field to save a timeout, and the rules have protected that. So Pat McAnally, whose loss as a wide receiver is only part of the blow to the Bengals, they have also lost their punter today in that injury. And of course, of primary concern is his own welfare.
We've got to wonder who the backup punter is going to be. They really don't show one. Breach, possibly. The kicker might be asked to kick, or perhaps another player on the squad who might have kicked a little bit in college. We'll check on that and run it down.
Jim Breach will be the backup kicker.
Breach will, in fact, do it.
Place kicker was just joined, and there he is, already anticipating that rule.
He, of course, being a soccer-style kicker, won't have to make the shoe changes that a straight-ahead kicker would have to make. Of course, the soccer-style kicker able to kick with a regular kicking shoe and punt with the same shoe.
We should make one correction. Breach is not from Washington State, although the Cougars would love to have had him up there in Pullman. He went to the University of California at Berkeley and was working for a paper company in Oakland a month ago when the Bengals called him and said, "We looking for a new place kicker, join us." And Breach has done all of that. In fact, has won the last 2 games for Cincinnati with field goals right at the gun, or in overtime, as the case was last week in Chicago.
You might wonder what that is on the foot of Jim Breach. Obviously, the quarterback would keep his hands warm. Kicker, he keeps his foot warm.
He does have small feet. I was amazed yesterday in the locker room. He wears a size 5 shoe. He looked like a ballet slipper.
Well, to get an idea of how small his feet are, that was just an insulated glove. That wasn't a that's an insulated glove he had on his foot.
So this long delay as they attend to the fallen Cincinnati Bengal Pat McAnally. And they're going to take every precaution in moving him in case there is a neck or spinal injury. And I know of great concern to those who are in the family of this young athlete. There's a good sign. You saw his left hand move up toward his face. So there was movement by McAnally as he reached up with a left hand toward his helmet or face, and they will now take him immediately to full medical attention. You see Thompson, the quarterback, leaning in to wish his comrade well.
Important to indicate to our viewers, too, that here at the stadium, they will have x-ray facilities, and they can take him in and instantly x-ray him to make certain that there is no hairline fracture, marginal fracture of that area.
Merlin, as a player, when something like this happens, and it's sobering for all of us, how do the players psychologically, emotionally wipe that out of their mind?
Very difficult on both sides. I mean, your concern as a player, one of the difficult things for the Bengals will be to detach themselves for their great concern for McAnally. He's a very popular member of their team, and they're obviously, their thoughts are with him. They've got to get their minds back into this game, and certainly they are the underdogs in this game. Theirs is the concentration most likely to break here in the early going. And really the tempo of this game, I think, is going to be determined early, Dick.
All right, the Bengals are out of the huddle. First down after the penalty. Personal foul at the 31-yard line. No score. Pete Johnson to the 27-yard line of the Cleveland Browns. We have 11 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Robert L. Jackson of Texas A&M, linebacker for Cleveland, with the tackle.
Probably the most difficult job out there will belong to Tom Dart, who will have to get it out of his mind. And I'm certain, again, as we said earlier, that had he been given an opportunity to go back and hit McAnally in a different way, he certainly would have done it, because even though the blow was a very aggressive one and even a vicious one, I'm sure it was unintentional.
Minnesota takes the early lead at Houston. They missed the extra point. Kramer to censor a touchdown pass. 6-0 Vikings. Johnson only gets a couple. May have fought to the 24-yard line, which would bring up 3rd down and 3. M.L. Harris, you see, the second tight end, teaming with Dan Ross as they bookend that offensive line.
I think in talking to Kenny Anderson, the injured quarterback of the Bengals, he was talking about the defense of the Browns. He said, the Browns give you a lot of short stuff. They give you a lot of stuff up in front of those linebackers. But you have to be patient to take advantage of it. Jack Thompson is a young quarterback, does not have a lot of game experience. It will be interesting to see if he can be patient enough to stay with the game plan, to stay with that short stuff, to work it down the field for the touchdown.
Steve Kreider has replaced McAnally. He's right. Curtis left. Play action to Johnson. Thompson, he could have run it, but elected to pass to Ross, and it's broken up neatly by Clarence Scott, number 22 for Cleveland. And here comes Jim Breach and a possible field goal attempt. It'll be a fairly long one.
One of the advantages that Jack Thompson brings to this team is mobility as a quarterback. He's much more mobile than Kenny Anderson, but he makes a mistake right there. Has room to run for the first down. Had the sure first down. Instead chose to rifle the ball to a receiver that was fairly well covered. Threw it too hard. We got the mistake right there that the Browns are looking for. Now they're going to try and keep the three-pointer off the board.
42-yard attempt. Good snap. The kick is good. Breach hit it low and just long enough. It skidded over the crossbar, and the Bengals take the early lead. 42-yard kick by Breach. Cincinnati leads it 3-0.
That's right. Delinquent losers, how to be.
Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen back at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. 4.5 minutes into the game, the Bengals lead 3-0. Breach's kick is short. Keith Wright on the run at the 13, 20, 30, and he's to the 31-yard line. As the Browns take the field, a quick word on Pat McAnally confirmed that it is a neck injury. X-rays are being taken at the moment. The Browns take the field. Brian Sipe is the quarterback. Mike Pruitt looking for another 1,000-yard season, just a handful of yards away, and Greg Pruitt, the running backs. The receivers, a trio of talent, Logan, Newsom, and Rucker, all with catches over 40. Deacon into the Pro Bowl, Shepard, DeLeon, a Pro Bowler, DeLamelure, a Pro Bowler, and Ryson, the offensive line, 3 Pro Bowlers. That explains why Sipe has been so well taken care of this year. And he's going to throw on first down. Complete to Pruitt. He's in trouble. Listen to this crowd. The players care, and the fans certainly are involved.
Well, I said the tempo of this game would be determined early. And if a 12-yard loss is any indication, it's really going in favor of Cincinnati.
Edwards, Whitley, Browner, all young, all number 1 draft picks. Harris, LeClaire, the MVP for the Bengals. Cameron and Dinkle. Backs are Breeden and Bright, Hicks, and Riley. 12-yard loss on that first play of the game for Cleveland offensively. 2nd and 22. Sipe over the middle, complete to Greg Pruitt. 25, and that's all. Bo Harris, number 53, puts the stop on Pruitt after a 7-yard gain. Brings up 3rd down and about 15. Make it 14.
That was only the 30th sack of the year for these Bengals. They have not gotten great pressure consistently on the year, but one of the things they did last week in that big victory over Chicago was to put a great deal of pressure on the Bears quarterback, Vince Evans. And they felt that that was one of the reasons for that victory. They're getting some pressure here early on Sipe, and if you're going to beat this passing offense for Cleveland, that's what you have to do.
Rucker right, Logan left. The backs are in the pattern. Intercepted and dropped. A bad pass, and Louis Braden, who had 3 interceptions last week against Chicago, almost picked one off today. And the Bengal fans cheer the defense.
Sipe once again getting the blitz here, stunning by the line, and he is buried under a wave. Well advised not to throw that pass. Receiver Newsom obviously extremely well covered by Breeden. They got away with it. They're going to kick it out of there.
Johnny Evans under a 10-man rush. Montgomery back at the Cincinnati 38. Short kick. Montgomery at the 43. 45. And to the 48-yard line goes the younger brother of Wilbert Montgomery, the star running back of the Philadelphia Eagles. A 31-yard punt, 5-yard return. Flag is down against Cleveland. Ineligible receiver downfield, or early release by one of the linemen.
I think while we're waiting for him to sort out that penalty, one quick reflection on the injury to McAnally. I said that the shot, I did not feel the shot was intentional. No question that one of the jobs of a defensive back is to go up and shake the football loose from those receivers. It looked like Darden was doing that. He was going to the chest area. I think he just got higher than he thought he was going to and got into the head. Many fans here in this area, many fans in this stadium would interpret that as being a cheap shot, and there's no question it's a shot that delivered a tremendous hit to the head. We hope McAnally is not seriously injured. We'll give you a report on that as soon as we can.
Now with a timeout here in Cincinnati, midpoint of the first quarter, 7.5 minutes have been played. The Bengals have the ball, and the Bengals have the lead. So New Orleans ahead early against New England. Cincinnati leading favored Cleveland, and Houston favored is trailing Minnesota at this point. Ball in Cincinnati's camp. Thompson complete. Dan Ross has blockers. Down he goes at the 41 of Cleveland. First down. Ross from Northeastern has 51 catches this year to lead the Bengals.
The Achilles heel, the weakness of this Cleveland defense, the short passing game. That's exploited by Thompson here. Cross inside under the deep drop of the linebackers. Now watch the slip right there. We told you about the slickness of that field. Ross trying to make the cut there, actually tackled himself. The defender merely fell on him.
Isaac Curtis did a good job of cutting down a linebacker to give Ross some running room.
If we see passes, they'll probably be to the sunny part of that field, Dick. The grass over there is pretty good, or the turf over there is pretty good.
He's got Curtis there, and now he's going long for Curtis. Almost intercepted by Ron Bolton in the end zone. Well, they had Curtis surrounded. He's had some big games against Cleveland.
Well, again, that's the kind of pass that Jack Thompson will look at in the films and say, wow, should have kept my fingers on that one. You'll see it here. He'll give you a deep pump fake right there. That's designed to freeze the defensive backs. Did not fool the defenders, however. You see Darden 27 and Bolton 28, both well in position there. Bolton almost, in fact, getting his hands on it for a possible interception.
Second down and 10 at the Cleveland 40 as the Raiders take the early lead against the Giants in the Meadowlands. 3-0 here, Cincinnati. Archie Griffin to the 37-yard line. Griffin has not been used all that much of late. The former Heisman winner, two-time Heisman out of Ohio State, had lost his starting role to LSU's Charlie Alexander, but Griffin playing today.
Can be a very effective back on a slick field. Has excellent balance, low center of gravity, runs kind of over his feet. That's something you lose. A lot of backs run laid out. You can't do that on a slick field like this. We might see quite a bit of Archie Griffin today.
Cleotha Montgomery replacing Griffin is flanked to the right.
Shotgun.
And now Curtis, and out of the shotgun, Thompson. Oops. Number 78. Munoz, Anthony Munoz, pulled too soon, and that'll cost NC 5.
Much of the pressure applied on passers by the Cleveland defense has come from Lyle Alzado, number 77, who's a very emotional player and a bull. And I'm sure Munoz, anticipating that kind of rush, just trying to get a little extra start. He's a rookie. He'll make a few of those mistakes, but he's a player.
Meanwhile, down in the Astrodome, Houston has kicked a field goal. Tony Frisch from 23 yards. The Vikings, who had their extra point block, lead 6-3 first quarter. Third and a long 12. Thompson over the middle, incomplete. Isaac Curtis, well covered. Had he caught the ball, he wouldn't have picked up the first down anyway. Tom Garden on the coverage for Cleveland. And here comes Breach to punt.
So far, the Browns playing with their back against their own goal line. They'd like to get a little breather here, get a little room to operate.
Breach, who has not punted in the National Football League. He was the kicker with the Raiders, but never the punter. They had Raymond Guy, so this is a unique experience for him. We'll see if Cleveland goes after him. Nope. Gets a little soft kick down at the 20. Keith Wright at the 15. And that's all. Well covered. Poole, number 35, hit him out of bounds.
I think he's relieved. A little poocher punt, an excellent punt under the circumstances, just exactly what you'd like to have. And had Keith Wright let it go, they would have downed it inside the 10, I think.
Now timeout. 5:40 left in this first quarter. Bengals 3, Browns nothing. The new head coach of the Fighting Irish, Jerry Faust, a high school coach here, very successful at Moeller High School. His players are here, guests of the Bengal management. That's as close to being down for that Moeller team as they got all year long. They were awesome.
Of course, Moeller, a part of the history of another man who's here today, Paul Brown.
Well, Paul Brown, Massillon, Ohio was his school, and Moeller beat Massillon for the Ohio State Championship.
And that's still a great rivalry.
Indeed. First down, Cleveland at the 14. Mike Pruitt out to the 17, maybe the 18. Bo Harris, 53, on the tackle for the Bengals. Second down and 6. Ray Griffin comes into the defensive backfield for Cincinnati. And Greg Bright goes out.
I think the biggest improvement in this Bengal team this year certainly has to be the defense. Hank Bullock came in from New England. The assistant head coach there has become the defensive coordinator here. Has done an excellent job with this defensive team.
Good point. They were last in the league in total defense last year. They're 9th this year. A big change. Sipe under pressure gets it off to Pruitt, and he has a first down at the 26-yard line. 13 yards as LeClaire and Cameron made the tackle for Cincinnati.
Sipe again operating under pressure. Bengals putting a great deal of pressure on him. Number 79, Browner, on the outside, working on Doug Deacon, 73. He's around behind to get a piece of Sipe. Sipe had to throw a little early, but they did get the play away and get the first down.
4.5 minutes in the first quarter remain. 3-0 Cincinnati. Sipe is audibilizing. Thus far, he's completed 3 out of 4. Total of 8 yards. Nothing there at all as Leo Miller runs into a Bengal stone wall.
In the first game between these two teams, Dick, the Browns only ran the ball 6 times. But the reason for that, they were operating so successfully in the air. They could do what they wanted with the throwing game. They really hurt the secondary, especially the young safeties for this Bengal team. But they're not having that kind of success in the air today, and they're trying to run the ball, not having much success there either.
And they've gone to the 4-man front on 2nd and 10. Mike St. Clair, number 72, has joined Edwards, Whitley, and Browner. Up and almost completes it anyway. At least he saved himself about a 10-yard loss. Sipe had the presence of mind to unload it.
Well, again, the comment earlier about the slick field, you'll see them working pretty effectively out in that area where the sun is. Browner going inside, number 79, meets the stone wall there, but going back to pass, Sipe himself had slipped. Browner arrived in time to knock Sipe rolling, but he did save the sack by getting that ball away.
Defensive coach Marty Schottenheimer with the Browns on the sidelines.
Schottenheimer talking to his defensive coach, trying to keep them updated on what the Bengals are doing to them. Good defensive coach, has done much for that defense over in Cleveland.
Bengals had 11 men on the line of scrimmage. Here they come. Sipe again. Right away. But the Bengals have held again. Bo Harris pressuring Sipe as they came with a 10-man rush.
The Bengals have added a few wrinkles to their defense. They're coming with the blitz. Bo Harris, 53, all over Sipe. They just didn't have enough people to pick it up, and Sipe doing an excellent job of avoiding the sack there and avoiding an intentional grounding penalty.
That's Cleotha Montgomery at the 36 of Cincinnati. Johnny Evans averaging 39 yards a kick, as you can see. Good boot. Montgomery back to the 31. And dropped at the 35-yard line. Good coverage by Cleveland. 3:19 remaining in the first quarter. 3-0 Cincinnati leads. Well, a lot of us were asked, Merlin and I, by the press about our reaction to yesterday's experiment, the no announcer experiment by NBC in Miami. And basically, my feeling was this. It made me realize, Merlin, that we have a tremendous responsibility. We're a necessary element, and we have to even work harder than we do.
We worked pretty hard doing the game from the hotel yesterday, Dick. But, no, it's exciting that we can be here. We hope we're good representatives for you in the booth and make the game a little more enjoyable for all of you at home.
And, again, we wish you all a very pleasant of holidays from all of us at NBC Sports. 3-0 Cincinnati. Thompson, complete. Out of bounds goes Steve Kreider from Lehigh University. Second year with Cincinnati. 12-yard gain. That is his 15th catch of the year.
Kreider actually a number 3 receiver early in the year. Don Bass had done most of the playing early until his injury. McAnally then replaced him, and now Kreider has replaced McAnally. Doing a good job getting control on that pattern, working the slick side of the field. And again, the offensive receiver, knowing where he's going to cut, will have the advantage in the slick part of this field.
First down, Bengals at their own 46. They lead 3-0. Pete Johnson protecting that football, gets it to the 49-yard line. Lyle Alzado, several other white shirts there to bring him down.
One of those white shirts belonged to number 52, Dick Bam Bam Ambrose. Excellent linebacker. Reads the play well. Watch him dip right into the hole. Meet the blocker in the hole. Bujnak stuff himself right into the legs of Pete Johnson. That's good linebacking play. And you see how many white shirts are a part of that tackle. You really have to swarm to a big back like that, or he'll drag the whole stack.
Second down and 7. Only Johnson behind Thompson. Complete to Ross. And he has the first down at the Cleveland 40-yard line. And again, if you weren't with us early for this telecast, the Cincinnati Bengals, although they will have a losing season, and this is the end of the year for them, they had the enthusiasm and the intensity yesterday in practice that you would expect of a team in first place at mid-year.
Very often the last game of the season with a record like that, you'd expect the U-Haul trailers and the kids and the wives parked outside the stadium and just let's get it over with and go home. Forrest Gregg has done an excellent job of getting his team ready for this game, and they're playing well.
First down, Cleveland 40-yard line. Thompson. Incomplete, intended for Isaac Curtis. Some of the fans feeling that Ron Bolton a little too aggressive on the sidelines, but no penalty. It'll be 2nd and 10.
No one likes to see an unnecessary shot. But for our defensive back, whose job and whose ability to make contact with receivers has really been curtailed, his only chance once a receiver gets loose is to tackle him hard enough to shake the ball loose. Bolton obviously trying to do that, an indication of the kind of pressure that's been put on those defensive backs. Watch Bolton. He's not sure whether that ball is caught or not. Comes up into the chest right there of Curtis, and still, I don't think, never lifted his head. Didn't know whether the ball was in Curtis's hand or not.
Cincinnati has exercised a timeout as Jack Thompson comes to the sidelines. The plays are shuttled in from Coach Forrest Gregg, either by way of tight ends or running backs, and Thompson apparently just didn't feel he could work with the call. It's 2nd down and 10. If you joined us late, Cincinnati took the opening kickoff, helped by a couple of Cleveland penalties, got within field goal range, and Jim Breach kicked a 42-yard field goal. Pat McAnally, the punter and starting wide receiver for Cincinnati, injured seriously, was taken from the field on a stretcher. X-rays are being conducted now. It is a neck injury, and as soon as we receive an official report, of course, we'll pass it along to you.
Got a good look at Jack Thompson. They call him the throwing Samoan. Handsome, really a handsome young man, an interesting young man. Lots of confidence, lots of enthusiasm. and they're excited about his potential here at Cincinnati.
You know what I liked about him, too, yesterday? He talked about Kenny Anderson, the veteran quarterback here in Cincinnati, and he said, I have so much to thank Kenny for, not just in helping me with the plays and reading defenses, but he's also been my ally off the field. When I give a speech, he helps me on that. Public relations, he gives me advice. It's nice to hear that two men competing for the same job can be such good friends.
I think that's one of the ironies of the relationship of young players and older players in the NFL. Most older players willing and unselfish in the sharing of their knowledge and in the teaching of young players. Certainly in the case of Kenny Anderson, he's teaching a young man who might well replace him in the lineup. But Anderson, willing to do that, happy to do that.
Let's run down the other scores while we have a moment. On this, the final week of the regular season, the Vikings, they've won the Central of the NFC, leading at Houston in the second quarter, 6-3. That's Anthony Munoz there without the jersey, apparently.
They've asked him, they probably had something on his jersey, and that's a common complaint now for the defensive linemen who can't get their hands on the jerseys. Either that or the jerseys have been altered so that pads are showing. There are a number of reasons to send a player to the sideline. That's what happened to Munoz.
You saw New England has kicked a field goal. They trail New Orleans 10-3 at the end of the first quarter. Oakland leads the Giants 10-0 in the first quarter. Here it's 3-0 Cincinnati. Second down and 10. Good protection. Almost intercepted. The pass is right in the arms of Charlie Hall, a veteran from Houston.
Charlie looked up and had the ball in his hand and said, "What? Where'd that ball come from?" And suddenly it dropped out of there. And I don't think he even saw it coming. Watch the shot here. He did see it. He did respond nicely to it. Just couldn't quite tuck it away. And that's one of the things that is difficult on a day like today. Most players on the field, many players, wearing gloves, and certainly hands are cold and fingers are cold. You don't have the feeling. And that ball changes physically. It's hard, just like a rock out there.
Thompson is 4 out of 10. Passing for 40 yards. That's Curtis flanking right. Third down and 10. Thompson. To the 37-yard line, and he took quite a hit and is getting up slowly, if at all. Let's check on Thompson's condition on the far sidelines. He's still down.
Now that would be a blow. He's sitting up because Kenny Anderson, talking to him earlier, has a very bad ankle and was concerned, extremely concerned about his ability to perform on this day. They do have a number 3 quarterback. There's Kenny Anderson. You notice how quickly he was up to throw a couple of passes just in case his presence would be needed. But it is fourth down. Right now they need a punter more than a passer.
Jim Breach, who hit a soft punt and a good one under the conditions last time, but when you think about the rest of this game and he's backed into his own end and needs a long kick, Cincinnati's bound to suffer.
You asked a question earlier, are they going to come after him? They didn't the first time. They may have thought about it. They may indeed come after him here. No, they didn't.
Ball goes in the end zone, and on the touchback, Cleveland will play it from the 20-yard line. 37-yard kick, but 17 net. And the Browns doing some equipment repair of their own. Marshall Harris, the handsome young man from TCU, a fine commercial artist, and that's how he made his living last year during the football year. Decided to come back when encouraged by the Browns as they picked him up for number 8. With a sense of humor, too.
Well, those defensive backs, defensive linemen have really had to cinch those jerseys down so that they aren't as easy a target for the holding by the offensive lineman. That's a rather new innovation in the NFL.
It used to be exactly the opposite. It was the offensive line that did that. First down play for Sight. Complete to Greg Pruitt, but Reggie Williams, playing with a painful elbow injury, makes the tackle at the 23.
Reggie had ruptured a blood vessel in that elbow, and they said it was almost 3 times the size of a normal elbow. He's got a lot of padding on it there, but you see the size of it still. It's still one of the ugliest elbows I have ever seen, but he is anxious to be a part of this game. And again, the indication from this Bengals team how important this game is to them. They didn't want to be on the sideline. Reggie wanted to be out there, be a part of it.
Second down, 7, 23-yard line at Cleveland. They trail Cincinnati 3-0. We're in the final seconds of the first quarter. Draw, Pruitt breaks the tackle and gains 2. He would have lost 3. Pruitt showing his power. Big Mike, who is ever so close to 1,000 yards. He started today with 983. Alzado has had hamstring problems the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Trying to keep that hamstring loose. Some of you at home watching the game might be wondering, why would he run a draw play in that situation? But obviously he's trying to cut down on the rush. You run a draw play to try and limit the rush. Little fake right there. Wilson Whitley doing a good job blasting through there. And Pruitt saving himself quite a bit of yardage. An excellent back to be able to get that kind of yardage after he was hitting the backfield.
The end of the first quarter at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. And after the first 15 minutes, the Bengals lead the Browns 3-0. Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. The Bengals dominant in that first quarter, and their defense especially impressive. And they've got Cleveland at 3rd and 5 at the Cleveland 25 as we open the second quarter. Brian Sipe going long. Caught! Could go all the way. Logan at the 20. He's all the way to the 10-yard line. Dave Logan. 65 yards. Schaefer Suggs saved a touchdown.
Logan having trouble getting up off the ground. There's a down to help him. That would be a severe blow to the Browns if he is injured. No way to tell what has happened to him. But what an inspirational catch. Watch Logan work Louis Breeden on the sideline. Breeden has him well covered, but Logan waited until the last second, timing his jump perfectly. Has excellent hands. Watch now how he waits. He'll cut inside right there. Throws Hicks by him. It's finally Schaefer Suggs that rolled on the ankle, and I believe it's the ankle that was hurt right there. You saw Suggs roll across the ankle right at the last second on the tackle.
Longest play of the year, pass play for Cleveland, 65 yards. First and goal, fumble. And Cleveland had it, so did Cincinnati. It's Cincinnati. Reggie Williams had the ball. He fumbled. Cody Rison of Cleveland had the ball, and he lost it. And just like that, the Browns' chances of taking the lead are snuffed out by the fumble.
Very interesting how often the turnaround of this kind can take place right after an emotional play. Watch Sipe just loses the ball there just before he was hit by Browner. Now the ball is loose. The ball bounced away by Williams right there into the air, and for a second was controlled by the Browns. Rison lost it. It's dug out eventually at the bottom of the stack. Big turnaround for the Bengals.
So after a 65-yard completion, Sipe to Logan. Sipe fumbles on the next play, and it's Cincinnati at its 24. Pete Johnson into a crowd at the 26-yard line. Second down and 8. 3-0 the score. The Bengals lead early in the second quarter.
Forrest Gregg, certainly one of the most vocal coaches in the NFL. Really a highly visible man to his players. Very vocal in his praise and his criticism of them. Trained, of course, by Lombardi, one of the great offensive linemen in the history of the NFL. I'll tell you, he could block you, too. I remember. I still got a couple of sore places on my legs where he whacked me.
Oakland leading the Giants 10-3. The Giants getting a field goal from Danilo, a long one, 47 yards in the second quarter. Thompson, complete. M.L. Harris, and he's to the 34-yard line. Very close to a first down. Good second effort by Harris. We'll see whether or not they allow that last lean. No, they do not. And it will be 3rd and about a yard and a half. Harris, one of the players who came to Cincinnati with Forrest Gregg from the Toronto Argonauts, the team that Gregg coached last year up in the Canadian Football League.
That play, by the way, came as a result of a little gamble by Robert L. Jackson, 56, who thought he could get across and knock it down. Alzado trying to get in on Munoz. We've seen a couple of mistakes from the young rookie. He doesn't make a mistake here. Gives Alzado all he can handle. A couple of bulls working on each other there.
3rd down and 2, and time called by Cincinnati. That's the second timeout they've used in this first half. because of a concern over the play call.
And again, that's the young quarterback. And that's one of the dangers of a young quarterback. Sending plays from the sideline, he simply didn't know what to do, called timeout.
Enberg, Merlin Olsen, Riverfront Stadium. What's impressed you big guys so far in this first half?
I think the Cincinnati defense is the most impressive thing, and the emotional level of the entire Cincinnati team. Part of that may be due to the injury to McAnally. I think sometimes an injury like that inspires you. No question, they certainly have had the emotional edge in the early going here.
Cincinnati, after the fumble by Sipe, has the ball. Third down and a short 2 at the 33. Alexander breaking into the clear at the 50. He's to the 40 and out of bounds at the 36, and a penalty flag. Face mask against the Browns. And it's against Tom Darden. 32-yard run by Charles Alexander.
Alexander, a first-round draft pick, that's the kind of running they thought he would be doing for them. Has not done much of it during this year. But here in the final game, certainly gave them the breakaway they would like to have week in and week out.
And it's a 15-yard face mask all the way to the 20-yard line, the penalty.
Number 27, defense, first down.
Just an explanation. It's at the option of the officials, the discretion of the officials. It can be a 5-yard or 15-yard penalty. Alexander breaking loose in the eyes of the official. The mask was used flagrantly in the tackle. You see it right there. The head jerked around, and they gave them the maximum penalty on that foul.
First down at the 20-yard line. Pete Johnson, no, it's Alexander again. And he showed not his speed that time, but his power at 226 pounds. We understand that New England has scored. Let's get a report on that from Brian Gumbel in New York.
All right, Dick, the New England Patriots have scored. This action coming in the second quarter with the Patriots trailing 10-3. Matt Cavanaugh from 40 yards away into the arms of Russ Francis. Touchdown with the point after. The Pats have deadlocked it at 10. Dick?
Thank you, Bryant. The Bengals on 2nd and 5 at the Cleveland 15-yard line. They lead 3-0 early in the second quarter. Alexander again. And he gets only a couple this time. Good, solid, low tackle by the Browns. Henry Bradley, number 91. Boy, the Alexander, he has not, as you mentioned, Merlin, given them the breakaway runs that they hoped he would, but he does show an interesting combination of power and speed at 226.
One of the reasons that Archie Griffin has not seen much playing time is the decision by Forrest Gregg to go with the big backs, Alexander and Johnson. And they certainly have rewarded his expectations in the last 3 games, and certainly again here today.
Third down. Thompson's going to have to hurry. The 30-second clock is at 5, 4, 3, 2. He just gets the play off. Play action. Gonna run it. Touchdown! A 12-yard scramble by Jack Thompson, and the Bengals lead it 9-0.
Earlier I talked to you about the fact that Thompson brings some mobility to that quarterbacking position, and he certainly utilized it well there, taking the run on into the end zone. Very, very big play, big points. They'll go now for the 7th.
Jim Breach connects. So the Browns had the ball, first and goal at the Cincinnati 10. Fumble. The Bengals then take it all the way to the other end and score on this scramble by Thompson.
When you get a pass play like this and people get spread all over the field, often the very easiest thing to do, if you have running ability, is to slip up the middle. Get away from the defensive lineman. With everyone else spread out, you've got a chance to go for that end line. Thompson does it here, and he's hungry. Watch him dive for that end zone. Right there. Just leaps in there. Fine, fine play.
And the Cleveland Browns find themselves in the playoff pressure cooker now. They trail by 10 here in Cincinnati. Sudden Sam Retigliano is what they call him now in Cleveland. His teams have won suddenly, and after the miracle of Minnesota, they have also lost in lightning-like manner. And they trail 10-0 as on that return of kickoff. Wright is out of bounds at about the 34-yard line. M.L. Harris made the tackle. Didn't take Cincinnati long to go 76 yards, a little over 3 minutes, and credit Thompson with a 13-yard touchdown run. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WLIO, Lima.
Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. The underdog Bengals looking for their 4th straight win. Lead favored Cleveland 10-0. The Browns looking for a playoff, and the Bengals have been tough. Sight throws it in the flat, incomplete. Mike threw it, thought he had caught it, ruled a trap. Bo Harris on the coverage. Pat McAnally, what a good picture that is. Hallelujah. McAnally is okay. He was carted off on a stretcher, and it looked to be a very serious injury in the first quarter. He's okay, and obviously at least will be available for punting duty.
Well, and the important thing is that he's back. There'll be a lot of relieved feelings, a lot of emotional relief on that sideline. We talk about the concern of other players and coaches as well as fans. McAnally, obviously, they were taking good care because they didn't want to take any risk. I think that's important to know that there is that care being taken by the doctors.
Sight off play action. He's in trouble. Down he goes. Eddie Edwards made the tackle.
That's the first sack of the day, but this Bengal defense has had pressure on Sight all day long, and he'll tell you, that's the second sack of the day, he'll tell you himself that the critical thing is the amount of time that he has to throw, and without that time, he becomes an ordinary quarterback. The Bengals are making him an ordinary quarterback in this game.
And obviously good coverage downfield as well, Merlin, because Sight was looking for a secondary target. The other sack came on the fumble when Cincinnati recovered and went on to drive 76 yards for a touchdown. 3rd down and 15, and a whistle. Flag thrown downfield, apparently delay of game, yes. Sight surpassed the 30-second allotment, and a pained expression on Rotigliano's face. That's not the kind of mistake you'd expect of a team looking to a playoff spot in the last game of the regular year.
One of the things that happened to this Cleveland team after a very emotional victory in Houston, I think they made the mistake of looking at the schedule and looking at the records of the teams they were going to play, and they said, hey, it's a coast from here. It has been nothing but bloodbath since that time. They have had to fight every step of the way, even against the Jets, barely eking it out and losing it last week, and behind here, they've got their work cut out for them.
9 minutes, 42 seconds left in the half. Sight. Down he goes again. And the Bengals are snarling. And a flag down, and it may be a costly one if it's against Cincinnati. We'll see if it's a personal foul.
Doug Deacon, one of the players involved in that hassle on the field, it looked like a retaliation situation. Be interesting to see what the call is going to be. It was after the play.
Personal foul against the Bengals. And instead of Cincinnati getting the ball on a punt, Cleveland will keep it on the foul.
Try and get a shot of it for you. Doug Deacon, the man who was involved, and it'll be over on the right. There you see him, number 73, working across at the bottom of your screen. You just see his feet there. Well, we didn't get to see it, but apparently Ross Browner, 79, retaliating for something that happened in the pass rush.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 75, defense, first down.
They call 75.
Automatic first down.
That's the bad part of it, to give up that possession. And again, that's maturity. That really is maturity. You see the reaction of Forrest Gregg there.
Gregg, a Hall of Famer. Coached for 3 years. The Cleveland Browns, the team he's trying to beat today. First down, Sight. Complete, Rucker. Nice move by Rucker, and he darts out of bounds at the 47 with a first down. Bo Harris ran him out.
Often to examine the play of a player that's been called for a penalty. Wilson Whitley on that particular play, given extra help. Tom DeLeon, the man assigned to block him, but you see the shot right there from Henry Shepard. It went right after his legs, keep him out of the play. I think he might have gotten a little shot on Shepard at the end there, too.
First down, 11 yards on that sight pass as he approaches the 4,000-yard mark for the year. He'll be the Pro Bowl starter for the AFC. In the flat, Mike Pruitt. And he is crunched at the 45-yard line, a loss of 2. Bo Harris has been all over the field. Number 53, Jim LeClaire, 55, also in on the play.
The play actually made, though, as much as anything by number 75, Wilson Whitley. Pumped up by that penalty. Watch him. He's going to get up off the ground here quickly to the outside. He's going to force the screen play back inside where he's got help. And by doing that, you get the pursuit from the inside. The tackle definitely made by the 2 inside linebackers, but made possible by a fine play by the nose man, Wilson Whitley.
Call it 2nd and 11. 10-0, Cincinnati leads. On a blitz, complete. Rucker at the 44-yard line. Lewis Breeden made the tackle. And that is going to be shy of a first down. 8 yards on the play. Other scores in the National Football League. Minnesota leading Houston 13-3. But if Houston loses and Cleveland loses, Houston wins the AFC. Oakland, sizable lead at New York. 17-3 for the Raiders. Jim Plunkett has just hit Cliff Branch with a 31-yard play. Here it's 10-0, Cincinnati. A big third down play for Sipe and the Browns at the Bengal 45. Mike Pruitt. They're going to be close.
Well, it'll be awfully close. Looked like he wasn't going to make it until he got that last surge. He's a powerful back.
It is a first down. Rod Horn and Bo Harris made the tackle on Mike Pruitt. Number 1 draft pick out of Purdue in 1976, and he really has matured. Last year, had a big year. Pro Bowler, gained nearly 1,300 yards, and he's going to be over 1,000 as of today. Wide open is Rucker. Touchdown, Cleveland! Reggie Rucker, and considering how cold it is, what a fingertip catch.
A combination of 2 factors. We talked about the fact that Sipe had not been having time to throw. He has time to let this pattern develop. And Reggie Rucker, who runs outstanding patterns, one-on-one on the outside with Louis Breeden, number 34. Breeden simply lost his man, and Rucker is all alone going into the end zone. Watch the pickup now on the blitz. Number 55, LeClaire. De Leon inside, doing a good job of helping to seal him off.
Cockroft, he's missed 6 extra points this year, but he hits that one right down the middle. So the Browns come back on a Sipe to Rucker 42-yard touchdown play, and with 7 minutes, 6 seconds left in the first half in Cincinnati, Bengals 10 and the Browns 7. Forrest Gregg, Bengals head coach, now 47 years of age, All-American at SMU, 15 years, Packers, and he actually finished his career 1 year with the Dallas Cowboys. 42-yard scoring play for the Cleveland Browns, and Rucker caught 3 passes in that drive, so they're working on somebody in that Bengal defense. 10-7 the score. Cockroft to kick it off. It's very short, but high. 16-yard line, Montgomery. 20, 25, and down right where his number is, 28-yard line. We understand New England has taken the lead, 17-10. 3 minutes left in the first half as Kavanaugh to Johnson, 11-yard touchdown. So New Orleans' early 10-0 lead has melted quickly down in the Superdome.
I doubt if Cleveland is really expecting much help down there. They've got to do it themselves. I'm sure that's their attitude, and they're doing something about it right now.
Now it's the Browns defense trying to get the ball back. Curtis in motion. Thompson to Alexander. Gain of a yard at best. Charlie Hall and Marshall Harris, along with Henry Bradley.
A lot of coaches will tell you, Dick, the game is won or lost on the line of scrimmage. Number 91, Bradley, the nose man, working on Blair Bush, a good center. Bush gets him shielded out, but Bradley still gets around behind, scrambles, pursues nicely, and eventually does get a piece of Alexander on the tackle. However, you've got to be awfully quick to run around that center and get him to the backside. With more experience, he'll learn to slow down the line.
Second down and 9. A little reverse to M.L. Harris. Read very well by the Browns. No gain. Clarence Scott and Robert Jackson collaborated on the tackle. And Harris slow getting up.
And the 13,000 Browns fans here in this stadium certainly making themselves heard. I think they're cheering as loudly for their Browns as these Cincinnati Bengals fans are for their team.
Timeout, injury timeout as they attend to M.L. Harris. We have 5 minutes and 54 seconds remaining in the first half here in Cincinnati. The Bengals with a field goal, then a touchdown, but the Browns have scored and trailed by 3. Well, the Pruitts have played well. They have 105 catches between them, and of course Mike leads in rushing. And Cleveland fans, their support well in evidence. Somewhere between 10,000, 13,000 fans from Cleveland down here to cheer for the Browns. And they even needed an extra bus to charter down the media covering this game from Cleveland. 3rd and 9, Cincinnati at the 29. Thompson to Curtis, incomplete. Well, the Browns will get the ball back. And there has been a definite swing in momentum toward Cleveland here in the last 6 minutes. Pat McAnally comes in to kick and gets a standing ovation. And McAnally just glad to be standing.
We're very happy to be back on the field. We're happy to see him out there.
Deep to return. Keith Wright at the 35-yard line. Down, they roughed him, and Cincinnati's going to keep the ball as they ran into McAnally. Not very hard, but there was contact.
They came trying to block that kick, and you see the smile from McAnally. McAnally under pressure concentrates on getting that ball off. It looked like Curtis Weathers might have been 21. That's Oliver Davis, the man that was bounced across into him. McAnally, as all good punters do, will accentuate the action a little bit. You see the smile on his face. Most importantly, his team has the football, has excellent position, and a chance to get some more points on the board.
Oh, Cincinnati, instead of giving up the ball, gets the 5-yard penalty, automatic first down at the 34. Boy, the Browns, as much as they've tried to forget what happened to them in Minnesota last week, it's been a haunting 4 or 5 days to try to erase what happened as the Vikings pulled out that miracle win. Thompson wide open as Ross. First down at the 45-yard line. Ambrose made the tackle. 11 yards for Ross. He is a well-liked young man on this. In fact, finished second to Jim LeClaire for the Most Valuable Player Award, voted by the players themselves.
Really did, and certainly someone who has gone rather unsung on the national scene during the year. Not the greatest speed in the world, but very dependable. Again, we see the vulnerability of that Cleveland pass defense to those short passes. Linebackers getting deep drops, but unable to come up quickly and protect that short zone.
First down, screen to Alexander. And he's to midfield, a gain of 5. Good play by Ambrose, Alzado, and Clay Matthews. It appeared that Alexander might get a much longer gain.
Alexander working the sideline over there, but talking to the Bengal offensive players and asking them about the Cleveland defense. I asked them what the strength of that defense was. They said in the linebackers. in the linebackers, which is strange because it's in the short passing game that they've been beaten. But that's because of the design of the defense. And I'm sure that's to protect defensive backs.
2nd and 5, Thompson. Incomplete. Curtis, well covered by Scott and Bolton in the Cleveland defense. It'll be 3rd and 5.
We talked to Jack Thompson yesterday, Dick, about his abilities, developing his abilities as quarterback. One of the things he talked about that was really critical was the ability to read the defenses, and how no matter how much you practice, no matter how many people talk to you about it, until you actually have a chance to do it, it is extremely difficult, and even then you need a lot of experience to make it happen.
He's really had trouble hooking up with Curtis. He's tried 4 or 5 times, and they really haven't been close to completing one. From the 50-yard line, 3rd and 5, he's in trouble. Almost intercepted by Henry Bradley. And no flag. It took a lot of speed for Thompson to elude the sack.
Thompson under pressure gets the blitz right there. 2 defensive backs coming, Burrell and Judson Flint, 20. And they're all over him. He got outside. I'm surprised he didn't get a flag for illegally grounding that one, but maybe the officials felt that a near interception was punishment enough.
Wright and Hall are deep for Cleveland. McAnally will deliver from about his 40.
I don't think they'll try and block this one, Beck.
Nope. High, fairly short kick. Right at the 18-20 and down at the 29, and a flag is down. 3 minutes and 43 seconds remaining. The flag is down at the line of scrimmage, so we suspect that is against Cincinnati. Yes.
Illegal man downfield. As you know, only the 2 outside men are allowed down the field as the ball is snapped. The others must wait till the ball is kicked.
Apparently Cleveland will decline the penalty. They are, and will take it at the 29-yard line. Ryan Sipe guided his team to a touchdown. 66-yard drive the last time. There's the penalty totals, and some of those grounds penalties figuring in the 2 Cincinnati scores.
A big opportunity there that they could not capitalize on as they got the ball back. Now let's see what Sipe and his offense can do with it.
Newsome in motion. Sipe to throw. Newsome complete. Flag down as Newsome is hit at the 35-yard line. Holding Cleveland. Now another penalty that is making it tough for themselves. Cleveland Browns.
Now we talked about Kardiac Kids. They don't know how to do it the easy way, do they?
All season long and last year as well, Cleveland taking the game down to the final minutes, and the thought was it'll probably be the same today.
Holding number 43, offense, 1st down.
Merlin, 11 of Cleveland's 15 games this year have been decided by a touchdown or less, and 6 games by a field goal or less.
I think it's not only the closeness of the games, but it's the fact that those were touchdowns and field goals in the last seconds often that made the decision possible one way or the other.
That's right. Draw play. Was read very well by 55 Jim LeClaire and also 72 Mike St. Clair.
Mike Pruitt is an excellent draw running back, and the qualities for that: good quick start, the ability to pick the open territory. But on that play, very alert defense all across the line. There was no open territory, but again, you run the draw play to slow the pass rush down, and Sipe needs time, so he's trying to slow it down a bit, give himself a little room.
Mike Pruitt now has only 10 yards rushing today. That gives him 993 for the year. Flag down, incomplete. As 72 St. Clair was putting the heat on Sipe. And the yellow flag is down. It's against Cleveland.
All right.
Might decline this one.
Well, right now, they're certainly marching the wrong direction. They want to go out to this goal line. They're going back toward their own goal line. Certainly embarrassing, I'm sure, for an experienced
Illegal
offense.
use of the hand. Number 63, offense, decline.
Cody Risen working on 73, Eddie Edwards. Edwards, a good, fine, strong young defensive end coming from the outside. Risen, one of the most physical in appearance offensive tackles in the league. Huge, long arms, and I think his arms got a little too long on that one.
Third down, call it 19. Browns trail 10-7. Less than 3 minutes remaining in the first half. Oh, great work by Sipe. And it's complete at the 45-yard line. What a play by Brian Sipe. He hits Willis Adams.
Sipe is not a terribly quick-footed quarterback, but he does have excellent vision. Watch the way he finds the open territory here, sliding laterally, feeling the blocking, and then getting the pass away. Willis Adams has not played a great deal, but shows great concentration. He's in there for David Logan. You saw Logan hurt his ankle earlier, and he did a great job of pulling that in, 25 yards on the pass.
So on 3rd and 19, Sipe gets the first down. Now he deals it to Mike Pruitt, breaks a tackle, and he's out of bounds at the Cincinnati 47. Bo Harris and Ray Griffin made the tackle. That stops the clock with 2:03 left in the half. So Cleveland with plenty of time to take its first lead of the game. I'd like to pass along congratulations to Brian Sipe and his wife Jerry, as you see some Cody Risen blocking, holding, pushing, whatever you call that, on St. Clair.
St. Clair, the fourth defensive lineman that goes into that situation. And he obviously giving Risen a little more than he wanted on that one.
Rucker in motion. Mike Pruitt to the 45. Might be short of the first down. I'd like to complete that thought on Brian Sipe. He and his wife Jerry welcomed their second daughter to this world on Wednesday afternoon. So it's been a very important week for Mr. Sipe and the family.
They named her Morgan Lynn. And a nice name. They're obviously excited, and talking to some of the Browns, they were concerned. They said his priorities are with his wife. We hope she has the baby before the game.
Yes, she certainly cooperated. 10-7 the score, less than 2 minutes remaining in this first half. Lyle Alzado, Clay Matthews, you wonder what their thoughts are. A long, long year may or may not come to an end for Cleveland today. Cincinnati knows they go home, and the young Bengals looking for next year already. Would like to win 4 in a row to finish this season. It's 3rd and 1 at the 45 of the Bengals. Play action. Miller, a juggling catch and a first down at the 38-yard line. Cleo Miller bobbled and then embraced it for a first down.
They'll come right back with a quick play. We got a man down on the field, one of the Cincinnati Bengals on the field. Cleo Miller just bouncing that ball around, gets himself inside. 57, Reggie Williams over there to do a good job of controlling him.
Jim LeClaire is the injured Bengal. They're attending to him. Brian Sipe is now 3 yards away from 4,000 yards this season. More importantly, he's trying to get some points and the lead. Preceding announcement furnished as a public service by the National Football League. And there's another good sign. Dave Logan is okay and back in the lineup for the Cleveland Browns. So 2 men, McAnally and Logan, wide receivers, injured, left the field. Both have returned. First down, Cleveland at the Cincinnati 38. Calvin Hill in the game for the first time for the Browns. Oh, my! Ross Browner smothers Sipe at the 49. Sipe, who has been sacked only 17 times all year, down 4 times in this first half.
Not Cody Rising, but Doug Deacon, 73, the man responsible. And Browner just took a hard inside rush, flew off the ball. He was unable to control him, and that's 16, 17 sacks, by the way, #1 in the NFL. Yes. They're liable to drop out of that position if they don't get busy.
Clock running, 1:09 left in the half. Complete to Hill. And he's to the 40-yard line. Brings up 3rd down and 12. Cleveland has not called a timeout yet. 59, 58 seconds. Glenn Cameron, Reggie Williams made the last tackle.
A very patient call by Sipe. They finally taking a timeout here, but a patient call by Sipe. He didn't try and get all the yardage, got half of it. Knows he's got at least one chance, maybe 2, to take the rest of it.
And with this catch by Calvin Hill, the veteran, former Dallas Cowboy, Brian Sipe, is over the 4,000-yard mark. But they wasted 10 seconds before they called that timeout.
A bit of a surprise, although one thing you have to be thinking of, and they are thinking of, obviously, if they do score, they don't want to leave much time on that clock. And there's a battle. You want to have time to score, but you don't want to leave any time for the opposition to work that clock.
And with 3rd down and 12, should they throw a pass incomplete, the Bengals will possibly have some time at the end of this half. It's 10-7 Cincinnati. In case you joined us late on the opening drive of the game, Jim Breach of the Bengals kicked a 42-yard field goal. Early in the second quarter, a 13-yard scramble by quarterback Jack Thompson culminated a 76-yard drive as Cincinnati led 10-0. But Brian Sipe to Reggie Rucker, 42 yards, later in this quarter, has pulled the Browns within 3 at 10-7. And Brian Sipe now faces 3rd and call it 12 from the 40. And it is getting colder in Cincinnati.
Now, once that sun has left the playing field, there's no place to get in the sun to get warm. No place to get warm at all down there.
Sipe almost caught by Logan. He is one of the best in the business at timing that leap, using his body to ward off the defender, and almost pulled it off again as he went over Ray Griffin.
He did that earlier on a very big catch. He also does something else here. Griffin is actually in position to try an interception, and going over the top as he did and almost stealing that ball, of course, kept it away from Griffin, and you see the result there. Neither one of them got it, but certainly you don't give it away to the defense. They'll punt it out.
46 seconds left.
Although they certainly have been known to do something else besides punt in a situation like this. Johnny Evans, number 8, is a quarterback, a backup quarterback. Twice in games we've seen recently, he's come up to run a play.
And the Bengals don't even have a man back. So he just hits a little soft kick down to the 15. Oh, it's a free ball! It's a free ball! Cleveland has it at the 9-yard line. It hit one of the Bengals in the leg, Reggie Williams, and Cleveland has recovered. First and goal at the 9-yard line. And that's the kind of mistake that just killed Cincinnati all during the early part of this season.
And that's one of the dangers of getting back in a situation where no one had gone back to receive the punt. Would have been wise to keep all of the Bengals out of that territory. Now watch the bouncing ball here. It's going to glance off the leg of number 57, Williams, right there. The ball came down, didn't even see it. And there you got, that's Dino Hall, 26. He finally gets on that football. They got a chance to get their score and go ahead. What a tremendous break for the Cleveland Browns.
34 seconds left in the half. From the 9, Sipe, incomplete. Intended for Ozzie Newsome, number 82, covered by Lewis Breeden. 29 seconds left.
Easily the most critical series of the first half. If they can hold them here, keep them at least to a 3-pointer, maybe keep them away from the goal line at all, they certainly will gain part of the edge they appeared to lose a little earlier in this second quarter, Dick.
Cleveland has 2 timeouts left as Sam Rutigliano thinking not about this play, but 2 plays ahead. Second and goal at the 9-yard line. Rucker right, Logan left. Sipe to Logan, incomplete, and no flag. Good coverage by veteran Ken Riley, a 12-year veteran from Florida A&M, the dean of the Bengals.
And it's a game of timing. This ball thrown before the cut. Riley having to time his hit so that he gets there at the same time as the bounce of the ball. A better look at the action on the outside. Now watch the hit. Does he hit him before the ball arrives? Well, maybe. Maybe not. The official said no. And Logan did not react angrily. So I think probably a good call.
Sipe has called timeout, has one more timeout left. 24 seconds remaining in a first half that has had a little bit of everything. And it is being played at a level that really gets these teams, or at least Cleveland, ready for the playoffs should they make it. It has that sort of drama and tension in the air, and that's to the credit of these Cincinnati Bengals, because they are playing as if this is their playoff opportunity.
Reggie Williams, the man who was down on that punt, ball bounced off his leg. A tough play for him. That ball came down short. He had no way of seeing it. You see him there saying, hey, I didn't even see the darn thing. And obviously trying to get the defensive team, the Bengals, fired up. If they could possibly turn it around here, take the football away, or, as I said, even hold to 3 points here, would be a big victory for them.
Cleveland Browns fans, they've had a good time down here in Cincinnati this weekend and offering their vocal support. This will be the largest crowd of the year for Cincinnati. The other sellout against Pittsburgh was when the baseball configuration was still in effect. So there are 4,000 or 5,000 extra seats today. From the 9-yard line, trailing 10-7. Calvin Hill didn't quite look in time. It appeared he was going to break in the clear and was a little late looking back. Jim LeClaire and Louis Breeden were there for Cincinnati. So the Bengals do hold.
They're blitzing on him again. Linebacker coming from the outside, stepped up. I think he threw a little before he was ready to throw. Calvin getting a look at that football, but it was just a little overthrown. One of the things that happens, you're running timing patterns. You're cold. You're not running as fast on a day like today, and it's difficult to time things out perfectly.
Don Cockroft, 26.5 yards away from tying it. It's good. So that muff punt by the Bengals leads to a 3-point Cockroft field goal, and a game is the Kardiac Kids have gained an even first half with 14 seconds left before the intermission.
Paul McDonald, the holder, did an excellent job of pulling a rather high snap down for Cockcroft, and I'm sure, again, the importance of a good snap, good hold, and a good kick. Watch McDonald, who's a backup quarterback. Snap a little high, a little inside, gets it down with good concentration. The timing of the play, excellent. Cockcroft followed through. By the way, the American-style kicker does have an advantage on a slick field. Doesn't put the pressure on that planting foot that a European or soccer-style kicker will put on the planting foot. Often they lose their footing more easily than a straight-ahead kicker.
Everybody having a good time today in Cincinnati. 10-10 the score. 14 seconds left, and Cockcroft to kick it off. See whether or not he hits one of those halfway in between kicks, fearful perhaps of a long return.
One of the interesting things that happens on the kickoff for Cleveland, they'll run a couple of players behind the kicker, and they do that to overload one side or the other. The reason there, the thinking there, is that Cockcroft's kickoffs are not long. They're not into the end zone, but he is accurate. He'll choose one side or the other to kick to, and you'll see them overload and try and get to that side.
Bengals are playing up very close, looking for a possible onside kick, but it's straight away. And Montgomery back at his own 9. 20, and he's to the 25-yard line with 7 seconds left in the half. 16-yard return, Ricky Feature. McDonald Oden in on the tackle for Cleveland.
You've got to believe that maybe Forrest Gregg, well, he has two choices. He either accepts the tie and walks it in, or he goes with one of the miracle-type plays and hopes for a penalty, possibly a big catch down the sideline, but with 7 seconds, that's not that practical. No, he's just going to walk it out.
And of course, there's so many important games. AFC with 7 teams, all with a chance for the playoffs, but no one clinching it coming into this final week. And Brian Gumbo will bring you up to date on all the scores, the standings, the implications. At halftime, both the Bengals and the Browns fans cheer their teams off the field. At the intermission, the Cleveland Browns 10 and the Cincinnati Bengals 10. It'll be Cleveland receiving as Cincinnati kicks it off. There are the first half official statistics. As the Browns running game, 5 carries by Mike Pruitt, 12 yards. That was it. It was sight throwing or nothing much at all.
Interesting turnarounds on both sides. Costly turnover at the end of the first half for the Bengals. Obviously, Cleveland controlling the ball with the passing game. The Bengals much more balanced in their attack.
Jim Breach kicks it off. Dino Hall comes up to get it at the 18. He's got some running room. 40. 50. He's all the way to the 47-yard line. Little Dino Hall, he fumbled. Will it be ruled a fumble? JoJo Heath came up with a football for Cincinnati, but they say Hall was down at the time of the bobble. 39-yard return by one of the smallest big men in the league, Dino Hall.
Little Dino has taken over that responsibility from Keith Wright, who was injured earlier in the year. Breaks outside. Obviously, the return up the left side. He just got out on his own. Runs through 1 tackle there, a 2nd tackle, gets off in there. Finally, a fine stop there.
Jim Breach made the tackle.
You wouldn't expect Jim Breach to be over there to make that tackle.
And being helped off the field, number 59, Andrew Mellentree, rookie linebacker for the Bengals. Oh, that field is so hard, Merlin. When we walked on it yesterday, it's like playing on a sidewalk.
Well, and even the area of the field that had softened up a little bit in the sun, now with the shade and the temperature dropping, will become harder. Again, the ball difficult to handle on a day like today. We're going to see the ball bounced around a few more times, and the body is not as pliable either. I think that's why we're having so many injuries in this game.
Now the Browns open up. First play of the second half at the Cincinnati 47. Mike Pruitt run out of bounds at the 50-yard line. A loss as Ross Browner, a former Notre Dame All-American and Outland Trophy winner, makes another big defensive play.
Browner, of course, one of the responsible parties for the pressure put on Sipe in that first half. 4 big sacks on Sipe in the first half, and numerous other times he was pressured. Obviously, showing his speed as he got to the outside, one of his great assets, the ability to run with those receivers and get out there and do some damage, kept Pruitt from turning it up.
New England has scored in the third quarter. Kavanaugh to Andy Johnson. That's the second time they've hooked up for a touchdown, and the Patriots now lead by 11. Second down, 12. Sipe.
Whoa!
Intercepted! That's going to be a touchdown for Ray Griffin. The bench is emptying. The Bengal bench is going to smother Griffin. You think they don't want this game?
That's Ray Griffin's 2nd interception of the year. They'd run Ozzie Newsome over. Brought him across to try and give him some room on the outside. Sipe does not throw the ball well. Throws it behind Calvin Hill, the intended receiver, and Griffin just opens it up down the sideline.
Whistle before the snap. Ironically, Griffin, as you see him scoring 54 yards in the touchdown, he has 2 interceptions this year, as you said, Merlin, both for touchdowns. Pretty good percentage.
Not bad percentage at all. And you talk about the emotional reaction to those kind of plays. Boy, that'll just turn things around. A big kickoff return by Dino Hall. It looked like Cleveland had something going, and wham! It's all back in the laps now of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Only the 13th time all year that Sipe has been intercepted. 5-yard penalty against Cincinnati. Breach's try for point is good. So on the second play of this second half, Ray Griffin, Archie's younger brother, goes now officially 52 yards for the touchdown on the interception, and the Bengals are in front 17-10. Ray Griffin has stunned the Cleveland crowd and Cleveland sidelines with a 52-yard interception for a touchdown. Dino Hall and Keith Wright are deep as Breach, with the Bengals leading 17-10. It's a short one taken by Cleo Miller. He's to the 30 and out to about the 32-yard line. Miller taking it right out of Hall's hands, and the Browns will try it again. 34 seconds expired in this second half, and Griffin's interception giving Cincinnati the lead. Ritigliano, the fifth head coach in Cleveland Browns' 35 years in the National Football League. Of course, Paul Brown, the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals, was the first, and after whom the team was named. Newsom. Sipe to Newsom. Looked to me, Merlin, that Sipe might have gone right back to almost the same play, except it was Calvin Hill that was in the flat on the interception.
He had Newsom on that side when he when he threw the pass over there to Hill. Newsom had come across in motion and gone upfield. You talked about Paul Brown. Well, hiding behind the pole is the former coach. You see him backing away a little bit there. Obviously very intent as he watches his team perform against his ex-team.
Quite a man, a Hall of Famer, one of the storied names in this grand game. Pruitt and Hill, the setback, split behind Sipe. Down the middle, complete. Ozzie Newsom at the 45-yard line. It'll be a first down for Cleveland. Tackle made by Lewis Breeden. We pause briefly from Cincinnati for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WLIO, Lima.
With Merlin Olsen, Dick Enberg at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio, where the underdog Bengals, looking for their fourth straight win, lead Cleveland 17-10. The Browns, a victory gets them into the playoffs, but they've been behind most of this game. They rallied to tie in the final seconds of the first half. Sipe to Newsom, complete again, a 5-yard gain out to the 50. And a flag is down, and Sipe may have been hit late. Yes, roughing the passer against Cincinnati. Ross Browner arguing his case.
He's not going to get much sympathy from the official or from Brian Sipe, for that matter.
So, 15 big yards against the Bengals all the way to the 35.
Dick, we'll let the official make the call.
Roughing the passer, a blow to the head, number 79 defense, first down.
You see Sipe get the ball away. Browner there. Now, difficult to tell what the officials saw. They're very hard now on any defensive lineman going to the head or the arm of the quarterback. We could not see from our angle. It's possible that that's what happened. Certainly didn't look like it was close enough to be a difficult call otherwise.
You can see also why Browner argued his point.
Yes, you can.
Sipe for Pruitt, and the ball was short. Greg Pruitt was clear as Bo Harris on that deep swing was making the play defensively, but the ball died short of Pruitt.
Dick, one of the things that happens to a team when they get a big break like Cincinnati got right at the first of this half, sometimes they come out, they're all fired out, they're ready to play, and then they get in a big emotional break like that, and it has almost the opposite effect of what you like it to have, because it's such a good thing that you kind of relax, and it's very difficult then to get back up. We'll keep an eye on the Bengals to see if that is what has happened to them in this game, or to see if it does happen to them in this game.
Don Cockroft keeping himself limber on the sidelines. The Browns kicker. It's second down and 10 from the 35, and Sipe is going long for Rucker. Touchdown! No, it's Ricky Feature. Ricky Feature. And the Browns come right back as Feature, the 5'10 receiver from Breeden down that right sideline.
Brian Sipe taking all the time he could get, sliding to the outside on that play. And again, if you give him time to throw the football, you're just asking for trouble. He reads the defense as well, and he finds the open receiver, and he delivers the ball to him.
Cockcroft trying to tie it up. And we're even again. Playing 2 minutes and 39 seconds of this second half. We have 2 touchdowns already.
And here's that explosive play. Watch Sipe now drifting outside. Gets away from the rush. And they talk about him lacking arm strength. He certainly got enough power on that ball, and you couldn't have thrown it any more perfectly. (17-17) as Sipe hits feature, the second touchdown pass for Brian Sipe. And Cockcroft kicks it off. At the 9. It's Nathan Poole to the 20, and still on his feet, finally out of bounds around the 30-yard line. Brian Sipe has hit Logan 65 yards, Rucker 42, Adams 45, Feature 35. So Sipe has hit some big ones today for Sam Rutigliano. They call him the Kardiac Kids. Rutigliano has a body that's 48, but his heart, he says, is 148. It's been tough these last 2 years, and he's really maintained tremendous cool himself, I think. He is really, when everyone else has been overly excited, he's always downplayed the emotions. The first play of the second half for the Cincinnati offense, no gain, and look at the Browns. They're playing the way the Bengals did the first half. It might be that the thing I just talked about a moment ago is taking place, that big break took some of the emotional steam out of the Bengals, who had such an emotional first half and who obviously came out ready to play. The Browns, on the other hand, that renewed their enthusiasm and determination. They came right back. Now their defense, very emotional out on the field. 2nd and 10. Play action. Intercepted by Bolton, and he's tackled by Ross at the 41-yard line. The Browns have the ball. And the Browns fans cheer the interception by Bolton. And you almost have to wonder which stadium we're in. They really are making their share of noise. Jack Thompson, a young quarterback, has a receiver who's covered and gets the ball over his head right into the hands of the waiting Ron Bolton. Not a good pass. A pass that either should have been thrown short or not at all. The 6th interception this year by Bolton. He leads the Browns. Sipe right back to the air. Into the flat to Mike Pruitt. And his momentum carries him out of bounds at the 42, a loss of a yard. I think one of the things we ought to talk about, Brian Sipe lacks so many of the standard qualifications for the quote-unquote perfect quarterback. Does not have the physical stature, does not have the arm strength, does not have the height as well as the physical strength that many of the scouts are looking for. But he does possess one very special thing, the cool and the ability to see what is happening in front of him and take advantage of it. He really sees more and responds more accurately than just about any quarterback in all of football. Well, he's compensated in part for the physique with a great mind. Sipe complete. Rucker out at the 30-yard line. That'll be a first down. 12 yards. Sipe to Reggie Rucker. Ken Riley made the tackle for Cincinnati. 17-17 tie. This second half exploding with a Griffin interception for a touchdown. Sipe coming right back to hit Ricky Feature, 35 yards. Then the quick interception by Bolton. Under pressure, and Sipe goes down. 73, Eddie Edwards got him from behind.
Ross Browner was there too. The 5th time that Sipe has been sacked today. Again, here's a man protected better than anyone in the league all season. Only 17 times was he sacked, and the Bengals have gotten to him 5 times.
Bengals defensive line obviously doing a good job, and perhaps a few breakdowns. An interesting thing, 3 of those Cleveland offensive linemen just announced as starters in the Pro Bowl. Can't help but feel that maybe a little letdown from a couple of them. Hey, I'm a great player. Well, they got a little more work left to do.
That young Bengal line has been tough. It's 2nd and 14. Going long. Touchdown, Feature. Ricky Feature, 2 touchdowns in 2 minutes. He'll let somebody else spike it. For the first time today, the Browns are in the lead.
And on that particular play, Dick, Brian Sipe threw a football to a receiver who was covered by 2 players. He's one of the few quarterbacks around who would dare to throw that football and then complete it. I think he and Fouts are about the only 2 who would have said, hey, I'm going to throw it anyway, and then he comes up with a touchdown.
Cockcroft kicks the extra point. Brian Sipe, blessed with great receivers. Dave Logan, Ozzie Newsome, Reggie Rucker has found still another today. Ricky Feature, 8 catches all year, but today he has 2 and 2 touchdowns.
Great concentration by Ricky Feature. Ken Rattler Riley, number 13, right on top of it. In fact, actually bumps him right there. But Ricky Feature never lost his concentration on the football. Took it all the way in.
Browns are in the lead by 7. We've played a bit more than 5 minutes of this 3rd quarter, and we've had 3 touchdowns. Cleveland leads, and here's a squibber. And the Bengals don't even run it. Taking no chances at all, as Arthur Modell, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, watches with intense interest not only the pride of championships or playoffs, but the financial matters also associated with a victory today.
I can't help but remember another view of Arthur Modell last week as they were watching the closing minutes of that game against the Minnesota Vikings, and he watched on with disbelief as his team dropped what looked like a sure victory, a certain victory.
Thompson on a bootleg. Brought down at the 31-yard line by Dick Ambrose. That'll be registered as a sack, the first today by the Cleveland Browns.
Thompson trying to get some extra time by rolling away from the pressure, but Bam Bam Ambrose turned it on.